Well, that was all I had as far as the impact. I'm sure it'll be much deeper and longer than we imagined, but anything
Yeah.
else that you feel is on radar that you think that we should talk about?
So I'm gonna go a little dark here, but I think that the deportation talk that has been going on may actually have an IT issue that is associated with it. So, on the trail, there were on the campaign trail, there was talks of we're going to deport 10 million people, we're going to deport 20 million people, and honestly, I just don't see this administration being organized to enough to be able to figure out all of the aspects that go into that. But I do think that in the process, if they look at this issue at all, if they even get a million, if they get 100,000 to do this, they're going to have to do a variety of things. They're going to have to check workplaces for people. They're going to have to do some sort of facial recognition or tracking from a camera perspective, perhaps some sort of ID tracking process. And I think some of this is going to filter down into the tech world just from a discussion perspective, if nothing else. So again, I'm going to this dark Big Brother type place, but I just don't see how you can pursue a deportation policy without getting deeper into some of these Big Brother ish ID issues.
Yeah, so I put this one in the same category as I do the wall and tariffs. I think this one is probably going to end up with more bluster than reality because of the logistics, that how difficult it would be to pull
Mhm.
something like that off. It takes an immense amount of organization. But let's just say, sake of argument right now, that he does attempt to go down that road. I hadn't actually thought about this, but as you were talking about all of it, it occurs to me that there could be this really interesting dynamic because if he were to be able to effectively do this, the only way would be through tremendous use of technology to
Mhm.
do it. And that technology is going to come from these tech companies that are impacted by some of this stuff, which there is definitely a history within some of them, like Google and others, where workers revolt over the technology being used for nefarious means. And so, that if it goes down that road, it could be a really interesting dynamic that could create a lot of turmoil in the tech space, because there's no way to do it without tech. I mean, that's the only way you could possibly pull it off. And so, yeah, that will be an interesting element. But again, I don't actually think it's going to happen. Guess we'll
I
see.
don't think it's going to happen at the millions level. I think there could be some, at least, decorative approach to doing this to please some people. And honestly, some of the advocates for kind of that, hard push are going to be in this administration. But I do think that there will end up being more of a discussion about some of these technologies, especially like facial recognition. And part of the Trump challenge with undocumented immigrants, by definition, is that they are undocumented. So how do you track people who literally don't have documents like that? That is going to be part of the discussion and hype that comes up as we go through this issue. And I can't see how it won't at least get brought up as a political cudgel, if not as an actual policy practice.
No doubt, no doubt. I think it's going to be a very interesting 12 to 18 months as the dust settles on this and we see which way this really goes. There's obviously a lot of hype on the left about how horrible this would be, this outcome. We'll see. I tend to be in the camp, as you and I both know from our time in and around politics, that
Mhm.
presidents have a lot less power than people tend to give them or think they do. Um, and so we'll see. We'll see exactly how much this plays out.